Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Hi, hi, hi. Hey, what is up? Everybody's already here. Pleasure to see. Welcome back to Field Plays Base, guys. We've got a big program here today on the. My production team has been very, very hard at work these last couple of days putting together this great show for you. There's plenty of things I need to get through today, but first and foremost, welcome back. It's a pleasure to see Mike. It's a pleasure to see Jeffrey, whom we haven't seen in a while. Jeffrey, I hope everything's all right. And thanks for joining again. Akil's here as well, and Nate, also known as Nathan Diana. I haven't really touched my bass at all in the last couple of days, if I'm honest, guys. The piano practice that I have to do has had to intensify quite a lot with all of the ensembles that I'm gonna have to manage, but which means it gives a whole perfect purpose for me to stream and do a live practice log. Been watching a lot of this Sore Hands, guys. I don't know if you guys know who this dude is. Long-haired American guy, classical guitarist. Very tongue-in-cheek, very not cynical, very sarcastic kind of humor. Which I kind of like. Talks about Jacob Collier, Alan Holdsworth, all of the TikTok guitarists, and I find him to be quite entertaining. Anyway, like I said, I haven't had many opportunities to warm up at all this week, so we're going to do a quick little 10-minute warm-up session. Not too long, pretty condensed, but it's got to be done because temperatures haven't really gone up. Well, just a little bit. It's not freezing, at least for now. But my hands are indeed pretty cold. I hope everybody's doing all right. If you haven't given this stream a like, do consider it. And if you do get anything at all from this stream, consider subscribing. I stream twice a week at the moment with the intent of streaming a lot more, like I used to during the summer. But it's a work in progress. Like I said, I'm quite busy at the moment with all the piano stuff. I'm not complaining, just I wish I could stream a lot more often. I did find the time, on a different note, to, pun intended, to transcribe the entirety of the There Will Never Be Another You solo. You know, this one. This is quite loud. This solo, I've transcribed the whole thing with the correct fret numbers, i.e. tabs. I just need to add the chords and the correct fingering, and then it'll be ready to be dispensed to all of you on the Discord channel. I was considering putting it on the Patreon, but since you guys are very faithful viewers and very insightful supporters and helpful supporters, I figured, these guys 100% deserve it and much more. So I wish I could give you guys more. It did take me probably 2 hours to do the whole thing. But if you're interested, it'll be on the Discord for you guys to have a look at in just a couple of days. Just so I can sort of triple check my work and make sure that the PDF is correct. Maybe the MIDI version will be available as well. Hello, Mike. Mike, I loved your 2 opening comments. They were very funny, and I appreciate it. The fire extinguisher is indeed present right next to me as a form of a bottle of sparkling water. And the kind of energy drink. Is Jen with us? Savage Fridays? Probably not. I think Jen is of the kind of temperament to say hi whenever she's on. So I hope she's working. I hope she's gigging or working on a new video. And Zahar is not here either. Yeah, he'll come back. Possibly when he gets a new girlfriend, or who knows? Some kind of milestone in his course. All right, I'm just finishing up finishing setting things up real quick, and then we'll be good to start. All right, I'm not going to do too long on the warm up, just to sort of get the blood flowing a little bit. Toot. All right, let's move to the action cam with our little in-house house-built metronome, and I'm just gonna do my two favorite exercises really at the moment. Those two Hadrian Farad warm-up exercises. You know the ones. You guys are familiar with all of that. And then we'll get straight into the juice and get straight into the meat of the day. The meat of the day. Meat of the day. Yeah, something like that. This isn't the right. There we go. There we go. That's the one. I need this to be on. There we go. Just about right. Okay, good to go. You guys know how this goes. Literally the first time I've played bass in a couple of days, so feels kind of weird. Hey, oh. I'm sort of switching it up a little bit with some sort of triplet pattern. Why? Because it's a little bit slow, and I kind of like to sort of challenge myself a little bit in that sense. All right, second exercise, we'll go same tempo, maybe a little bit. Actually, I think half as fast for this exercise, because it's in sort of 12/8, 6/8. So I like to divide the tempo, divide the pulse by 1, by 2, divide by 1, divide the pulse by 2, and like that. Give myself a little bit more room space. nice. I'm getting a nice, decent enough burn in the forearms. Give this a little rest, and I reckon we're good to go. Last week and the week before, we started transcribing this Junior Braguinha, kind of improv etude, some kind of cool little groove that he's playing, and I just want to check on that so that it's not forgotten, because yeah, there's some interesting lines in there. It's mainly the sort of rhythmic placement that I find particularly interesting. I just realized that the bass was the camera was pointing in kind of in a not particularly interesting direction. Let me now put on Amazing Slowdowner, which is my go-to app for transcribing tunes. Obviously that and visual cues. If you happen to have a solo or a live, whatever, something that's a YouTube video, gather all the clues. Gather all the clues. Don't leave any stone unturned when it comes to transcribing and figuring out what makes other players special, or what makes their technique particularly, or their sound particularly interesting. Is usually all the clues are in front of us. It's right under our eyes, and it's important to both listen and look at what they're doing. You're only listening, you're only getting half the picture, and if you're just watching, you might be missing out on an opportunity to train your ear. So good to be able to rely on one or the other and put more emphasis on one or the other depending on the context. I like to start off with transcribing just the notes, just getting the pitch right, and then going back to the video to get some insights about the fingering, the positioning, and whatever other clues I can gather from the player. I mean, usually if they're playing something in a particular position, it's probably for a good reason, especially if they can play it really fast and you can't. It might be because they've got a slightly different approach, or that you simply leaving some practice on the table. And if you're playing the same thing as them, exactly, then the only thing separating you from them is just the amount of time that you spend practicing that particular line. I don't believe in geniuses. I only believe in people that have spent an inordinate amount of time working on a particular aspect of things, and that's what we know them for and revere them and get inspired by them. But I may be a little bit deluded. Maybe I'm a little bit of an optimist in that sense, or a bit naive. But I think that most humans can get to a pretty good level of musicianship by just watching and listening and spending enough time practicing. Usually the thing that holds us back is that the amount of time spent honing onto the details, honing in on the details. It's just a time management thing. And I don't mean that in a sort of, it's just that, in a flippant way at all. Just that it's kind of optimistic. If you're not really where you are, if you're not really where you want to be compared to where you are in your level on an instrument, well, there's lots of hope. It's just, you've just got to spend a bit more time on it. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Right, so I'm going to check on this bass. Here it is at speed, and hopefully it comes through. Yeah. I haven't actually finished transcribing that piece. The first part is already pretty hairy and rather difficult to play, especially obviously that At full speed, this thing is just destructive. It's Ghost Note heaven in a sense that they're really well done. I agree, Mike. But there aren't that many. It's mainly in the first part that there are a few Ghost Notes. But it's not as furnished as, shall we say, Aprieta. Oh god, it's been a while. That is crazy. That's a crazy amount. The ratio of ghost notes to actual notes played, like pitched notes, is probably more like 60-40 in favor of the ghost notes. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, I'm just gonna spend a few minutes practicing this little groove here. That's the first one. Second one is pretty good as well. 70% as well, because I. Oh yeah, that's the one. Turn the tone down. Oh yeah, that one sort of oars into the next one. Mike says, raking the ghost notes like I've been raking the leaves in a yard. That analogy worked better in my head. I think it works. I think it's pretty relevant. I don't know which one's more hard work. Raking the leaves seems like you know, you're done once there are no more leaves. In our case, you're never done. it's like raking leaves that just constantly sort of blow back, immediately cover all the ground you thought you'd covered. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe that analogy worked better in my head. we're peas in the pod, Mike. You and I both like analogies. All right. How do I put all of that together? Okay, that's the part that I need to work on a little bit more. Just a touch more. I'm gonna save these presets as full. That way we've got it for later. Okay, let's go back to that Poutin Chief thing. I can't hear myself really well. seems like it's a little bit louder, so good. Okay, let me try that again. Yeah, I'm nearly there. It's a very, very fast line. We're at 50% here, and I'm somewhat struggling with some of that. Nope. I'm really struggling with this particular line. Again, it's one of the difficulties I've always had has been sort of string skipping, going up the strings. And in this case, this little line, which is all in fourths. I'm just playing sort of bar A chords of the A string and D string, and I'm using my two fingers. My fingers just bar the two middle strings, right? And it's that particular section. That's okay. It's going from the D string to the G string. I feel like I'm somehow a little bit out of position, a bit out of whack, and I can't quite figure out what's slowing me down technically. There might be some kind of economy plucking or double plucking, whatever you want to call it, that I take advantage of, but I'm not seeing it just yet. Makes no sense going to another string. Yeah, switching between the A and D string and D and G string doesn't make any sense, so I wouldn't consider that to be the answer. Maybe here? Okay, well, at least let's just refresh my memory a little bit on this one. But what I really wanted to do today was starting to transcribe Stella by Starlight by Johan Hansen Larsen. I'll just put on the video. First time I'm going to be listening to it again in ever since the last stream. So let's have a quick listen. Wow. Jeez, that's a tall order. Yeah. Oops. Sorry, that's the next one. Let's go back to this, just in case we need. I mean, it's going to be on guitar, so the fingerings obviously going to have to be adapted heavily. So that's another interesting aspect of transcribing instruments that aren't, that transcribing solos that aren't played on the same instrument you're playing, is that you really have to sort of push the boundaries of your figuring. You have to put some active thinking into the best way to start a line, the best way to finish a line, the best way to finger everything. And that's yeah. Unfortunately, this is something I've only sort of recently on stream actually is something I've realized only recently, especially with the Hadrian starting, transcribing some of the sorry, set some of the Hadrian lines. Gosh, that was difficult to that was difficult to push out for some reason, because I'm thinking at the same time. Hadrian stuff really forced me to the realization that fingering, the positioning, and fingering both left and right hand are absolutely inherent parts of how fast you can play. And usually the obstacles that you face can be solved by addressing one or the other, or both, most cases, of these let's say technical challenges. Either your right hand that's not doing the right thing, combination of the right hand and the left hand, I suppose. And that realization is, yeah, I'm very just really grateful for that. Mike says, when you were playing this last week, it sounded like you were playing a horn solo. Interesting how it can sound that way. Probably, Mike, because my guess is that Johan, which we're taking a look at today, he himself, I think, has transcribed a lot of horn players. Obviously, saxophone being one of the best instruments for speed and of lyrical output and dynamics and all of that. It's just you can. There's so much you can convey in with the sort of dynamics that you can add to a note with your breath. Obviously, the length, the change in dynamics at different points in the note, all of that sort of stuff. Kind of impossible to translate on a stringed instrument, or or a plucked instrument, or the piano for that matter. Unless it's some kind of MIDI thing that you control with your left hand, automento or whatever they're called. And I think he has transcribed a lot of that, and a lot of the phrasing has permeated through his improvisation, into his improvisation. And if it does sound like a horn, it's probably because, yeah, that guy's transcribed a lot of horn. All right, let's get cracking. I think the first few bars are pretty straightforward, but very quickly get into some pretty difficult territory. Thought I would start at around what. Okay. think this is the beginning of the solo, but oh, one. So he starts his solo just a little bit before the end of the last A section of the tune. Stella by Starlight, by the way, if you guys are not familiar, is you're not hearing anything? My bad. I was just doing a fill. There we go. Sorry, I was just checking that I was starting the solo at the right time on Amazing Slowdowner. He is just finishing the melody. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the form starts again. So he's doing what the jazzmen call a solo break, which you will hear very often. There are very famous ones, where you get to the last 2 or 4 bars of a tune, depending on how fast you're playing it, and then everybody stops, and the soloist will get the first sort of outburst, solo break. Just every instrument, he's just completely on his own, and then when the form starts again, everybody's back in. And in this case, I can clearly hear that this is what he's doing. Pay attention to. He's finishing up the melody here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Solo break. Here the form starts again. And this is when he brings in some kind of pre-recorded backing track. I don't know how he did this, actually. He's probably got a click in his ears. That's my guess. Yeah. So he gave himself 32 bars to play sort of chord melody stuff. And then 32 bars later, the sort of backing accompaniment, the guitar accompaniment kicks in so that he's got some sort of a harmonic context to improvise over. That is my guess. That, as far as I can tell, that's what's happening. And let's get over it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bam. Okay, so this is where I will start transcribing. I'll just save this as start. Probably get renamed at some point. A little bit of adjusting. More and more, I like to sing what I can hear before I start even touching the fretboard, just because I feel like I'm internalizing whatever I'm hearing much easier if I'm singing it. I don't need to get back to it. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, sorry, just gonna raise that G string a little bit because trouble. Fuzzy. Like quarter turn. Enough for now. Right. Une. Let's get the chords up for this tune. Yo, what's up, Akil? How you doing, man? Stella by Starlight. So, first chord E minor 7 flat 5. Again, very interesting movement to open up with. It's a minor 2-5, but we're not really going through the 2, 1. Normally, you'd see a 2-5, a minor 2-5. You'd expect it to land on its minor 1, in this case, in the case of this song. We're not going through D to D minor, we're going through to C minor. To another 2-5. But this 2-5, that it should lead us to B flat major, leads us to F minor 7. So it's an interesting, very interesting chord progression to look at. They're all starts off with a bunch of sort of misfired, not misfired, it's intentional, but sort of catch my drift. They're 2-5s that mislead us into believing that we're going into a particular direction. So 2 key changes within the first 8 bars. Yep, within the first 2 bars, my bad. And probably a couple more. Yeah, it's quite an intense little tune, sort of wrap your head around. But the melody flows very nicely over it, and this is why it's become, thanks to Miles Davis, I think he's the one who popularized this tune as a sort of improvisation platform, and it's become a mega classic now for jazzers to improvise over. In our case. My bad. It's going to be intense. I don't know how far I'm going to get into this solo, but I'll do my best. I'll do my best. Except I don't like where I'm starting the loop. Okay. Okay, let's go. One, two, three, four. Don't really know what's going on there. Yeah, not sure. What note am I missing there? Okay, from the beginning. 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, 1. 1, 2. What is that? Mike says, reminder, watch the movie Sinners if you have access to it. Brilliant music movie. The premise of the story is that people that are born with the gift of making music have the power to pierce the veil between life and death. Oh, wow. Allegory. Allegory. It's kind of true, but they're sort of like taking it literally in that movie. Oh, with Michael B. Jordan. Okay, cool. So it's pretty recent then. I mean, last 10 years probably. Or maybe that was before he became huge. The premise of the story is that people that are born with the gift of making music, the power to pierce the veil between life and death. Not to go on a little bit of a tangent here. I have this conversation with my, friends, family all the time. It's always, they always say this, they always say something along the lines of, oh yeah, but you're gifted, or you've got the talent, or you were sort of born with it, blah blah blah. And I'll always remember another friend of mine he's been a great guitarist like for his whole life. Like the guy was pretty much born with a guitar in his hand, right? And when I was 16, 17, when I had my first contact with the bass and the sort of world of pop music in general, having no particular background in music, apart from a dad that loved classical, was seeing this sort of 15-year-old Jérôme Hiernaut, shout out to this fantastic guitar player. And I saw him at 15, just playing like an absolute rock star, even improvising and doing like, improvised blues solos, that sort of stuff at 15. I was like, it might as well be magic to me that some people can do that. At the time, I was like, this is just impossible. How can somebody do this? He's 15. He hasn't had the time to sort of take in blues. He's 15, middle class family. He's got no, he's got nothing to sort of sing about. He's just a teenager, and he was kind of like looking down upon me at the time because I was, a pretty crappy bass player at the time. I didn't really think that I was going to make much of it, and over time, the hunger for the bass just became stronger and stronger in me, and I practiced harder and harder, worked harder. I took it more and more seriously, every day essentially. And then a couple of years later, we bumped into one another at a jam night, and I got on stage and I played, I think, like a Cosmic Girl, Jamiroquai tune, and the rest of the guys next to me were kind of just like, they were all experienced players, and that included him, I think, at the time. And they all said, "Wow, dude, you've become a bit of a monster." And I was like, "What?" Like, and they started treating me like I was part of them now, like I was part of the group. And it was really, 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 really strange to me to see all these people I looked up to sort of take me in as one of their own. And I was like, "Oh, okay, so that's kind of just that's all it takes. You should just take it seriously and practice and trust in your teacher." Anyway, sorry. This is just I suppose I'm in a bit of a a bit of a talkative mood tonight. But I'd rather look at the at other people's talent as oh, indeed they've had a different life trajectory than I've had. I look up to Johan, this guy that we're transcribing at the moment. I look up to Mark King, Jacko, Pino. I mean, you name them, all of the great musicians that we transcribed over the last year or so, and the ones that you guys like. Well, I'm like, well, the only difference is life is taking them on a path that made them, at a given time, that made them practice really, really freaking hard a particular thing. And then they got just consumed by the passion of the instrument. And then from then on, that was it. They didn't have to force themselves. There was no discipline. Well, there was discipline, I suppose, but they didn't need motivation anymore. They didn't need to wake up in the morning and feel like playing guitar. They were just like, yeah, that is literally all I'm thinking about and all I want to do. I know it's going to be hard, but I want to do it. So they were just the élan, as we say in French, the sort of gumption that they had for it was pretty much just set for a while. And they would naturally just practice and practice and practice. I've had glimpses of that throughout my life where I was just absolutely hell bent on getting better at a particular thing, whether it's slap, whether it's speed or groove or whatever. So I don't want to believe in talent because I don't think it exists. I think some people may have genetic predispositions, but at the same time, Django was missing a couple of, he was missing like two or three fingers. Um, the drummer from Megadeth is missing an arm. I mean, plenty of people start off with, tiny hands. Michel Petrucciani, very famous, legendary jazz player, um, he had dwarfism. He would have had to overcome immense obstacles in technique to be able to, reach across the notes, I suppose. And I'm just like, I'd rather focus on all these people that have overcome difficulties and that sort of the against all odds kind of people. They're the ones that put in perspective the geniuses, because we put them on the same level, right? You wouldn't say, oh, Bill Evans was better than Michel Petrucciani. You couldn't. They were both like world class piano players, jazz players, but one of them was, normal size and the other one suffered from dwarfism. Like, okay, which one do I want to spend more time focusing on? Well, both. But if somebody is like has the temperament to want to say like, oh no, but they were both like born talented. Like, yeah, but to a certain point, dude, like the amount of obstacles you have to overcome, like talent means nothing to me in that case, and neither does absolute pitch, perfect pitch, all that sort of stuff means nothing to me. What means something to me is practicing and being serious about the instrument. The rest is sorry. I'll get off my soapbox now, guys. Apologies. That was a bit of a yeah. I took you guys on a bit of a side quest there. It's my side quest to correct people when they say, "Yeah, but this guy's got talent." Like, no, you're not seeing the. You don't want to look at the optimistic side of it because you don't want to take a good hard look at yourself, which is you could do the same thing, you're just not. And it's not a matter of starting at 50 or starting at 15 or 5 years old being put in, behind a piano. It's just a matter of doing it, just feeding every free time that you have with your instrument. That's it. That's it. That's my soapbox moment finished. I'm glad to see that Nate likes tangents. No, by all means, love tangents. What are love tangents? We're missing a comma there, I suppose. No, by all means. Love tangents. That sounds like a level 42 album name. Love tangents. And there's love, Tillman, love tangents. Love tangents. That's it. Bit of humor, love tangents. I mean, look at Silverchair, for example. Those lads were 12 making music and had platinum records by the age of 15. That is insane. Dude. There's an amazing blind pianist named Rachel Flowers that covers Emerson, Lake and Palmer. That is otherworldly. I mean, how many blind musicians, if blindness was like any kind of physical defect, any kind of physical, handicap was just a final obstacle, like the definitive thing that was like, no, there's no chance that you will ever be this or this or that. Well, then I think any normal, a normal human being would be like, yeah, well, I'll, I'll, I'll goddamn show you. It's like, it's this attitude. It's this. Oh, oh, you're telling me that I can't do that. Well, I'll show you. I'll show you. We all love these stories. We all look up to people who have this kind of attitude, the sort of underdog. Charlie Parker on his first gig, legend has that he had a cymbal thrown at his head because he was so bad apparently, and came back a couple of years afterwards after practicing 13 hours a day, and just became the absolute legend that he is. There's so many people that we look up to that have adopted this attitude, that have had that particular switch in them, instead of being like, yeah, I suppose they're right. I'll never amount to anything. We respect self-respect, and switching your attitude towards something that's a bit more like, you know what, I'll show you. That's self-respect. And I don't know, guys. I'd like to think it's a pretty universal trait, and the people who don't, and I think the people who don't agree with that, they're deluding themselves. They're lying to themselves. Yeah, just let yourself fall in love with the instrument, dude, and believe in yourself. For Christ's sake, believe in yourself. Listen to her do Tarkus. I will add it to the list, Mike. Nate says guitarist Buddy is insane, but he also has OCD ADHD, which really locked him into learning the instrument in his youth. When you say locked him into learning the instrument, I like he just absolutely like that's all he could think of is what I'm. Sorry, something maybe got lost in translation there on my end. He got which really locked him into learning the instrument in his youth. Yeah, I think that's what. Yeah, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, 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 dude. Also OCD, ADHD, dude. Weakness or weapon? I don't know. Sorry, weakness or strength? It's a weapon. Weakness or spaghetti? Weakness or strength? Depends what you make of it. There's I mean, I think this is a tangent stream. I'm just gonna do loads of tangents. Um, people like if you're honestly asked the question, oh, would you switch lives with the richest person on earth? You know, it doesn't need to be named, like any kind of like super, you know, near billionaire. We all can name a few, right? Would you switch lives with them? You're like, well, I don't think I'd like to, because switching lives would mean possibly switching brains with them, and the cost, like the toll it takes to get to that position of being, you know, workaholic times 100 or times 1,000. Like it's just must be just a constant sort of storm in your head that I don't think most people would want to experience at all. I don't think, you know, I don't think like a guy like Elon Musk will ever know peace in his life, because we're all trapped in our own heads. There's no escaping the prison that we're built into, our consciousness. And if his consciousness, if his brain works in a way that's just constantly firing ideas and just jolting him into working on the new thing all the time, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Maybe that's his peace. Maybe that's when he feels at peace, is when he's working on a new project. Could be. But I don't think most people would want to experience this level of stimulation all the time. You know, constantly being assaulted by being assaulted by urges to develop things and go for. I don't know. I don't know, dude. I mean, clearly this guy's one of a kind, but that's what I'm thinking. Nate says, well, now he abuses prescription Adderall and he's an alcoholic. Uppers and downers to balance out. I've had so many discussions with him as he's 44-year-old with 3 kids. Like, dude, get help. Oh, damn, dude. Um, I hope he can keep it together, man. I hope I hope he manages to find some kind of balance with that. But yeah, like I said, dude, you're literally given me an example of somebody that has these constantly, that is constantly assaulted by intrusive thoughts, or uh, God knows whichever way it is. He's either just blocking everything out and just focus, like single single focus, or he's just constantly being bombarded by ideas and trains of thoughts, like interwoven trains of thoughts, that sort of stuff. I don't know. I don't know if I would want to experience that. You see what I mean? It's like I'm quite happy being in my head, because at this point I've sort of mapped out the terrain. I kind of know which areas I've I can venture into the sort of party zone a little bit every now and then, but I know that if I spend more than an evening in there, that I'm at the risk of being trapped in there for long periods of time, like months, if not years. So yeah, I'll just nip in and out. I know it's there. I make the entrance fee quite high for me. The consequences of venturing in there a little bit too long are very, very hard to manage, personally. Um, Mike says, "Not me. I'm more of a float like a leaf down the river of life kind of guy." Well, Mike, yes, that doesn't surprise me, because you're into martial arts. You seem to have like quite a diverse array of things you're interested in, and that's a blessing. That's a blessing. But some people who have this kind of OCD, single focus mind would probably say the same thing. They say, yeah, the cost is pretty high, but the result is, I don't know. I'm a successful bass player. I'm a captain of industry. Yes, my family life, my private life is a mess, but all I ever think about is the new idea. I think we've got to be content. We've got to be content with what's in our heads, and whatever weaknesses we have, should treat them as we should try and frame them or use them as strengths. Find a way to channel that energy, or that lack of energy, or whatever, into something positive. Whether it's religion, martial arts, music. Well, I think they're all pointing into the same sort of spiritual direction. Music and in any art form, and I think martial arts. I think they're called arts for a reason as well. Sort of physical exertion component. But yeah, I've done zero transcribing, and I've been chatting for an hour. This was the least productive practice session, I think, a transcribing session that I've had. I'll try to do a little bit more, but I'm just enjoying I'm just enjoying the reflection here. Usually there are downsides to prodigies or people that excel at specific things to a point where it's extraordinary. Indeed. Oops, sorry. Indeed. And he says, I'm very similar, Mike. Wherever I go, there I am. See you when I'm looking at you. See you when I'm looking at you. Tangents are the best. Is the Love Tangents. Love Tangents, the new album. Including titles, including number 1 hit, Love Tangent, and number 2 hit, Float Like a Leaf Down the River of Life, by Bevel43. I could sing, honestly, sing and play bass at the same time. I can sometimes, but it's maybe Mr. Brightside. I could slap in. I wish I could do a mocking impression, essentially. All right, I'm just gonna keep going a little bit with this transcription, because I do want to get that notch on my belt. I love that he starts his phrases like little interjections, but at unexpected times, unexpected places in the bar. They're not your sort of run of the mill, your sort of run of the mill pentatonic runs that you so often hear people default to when they're improvising. In his case, he's going boldly when no one to go. Oh, come on, the Star Trek thing. Help me out, guys. To boldly go where no. I know this. I'm a big Trekkie fan. To boldly go where no one has gone before. You know what I mean. And he just does that. I love that. Love that. I want to get those phrases in my head. Oh, this is just a great example. This particular phrase. This one here. Right, so G, E flat, C, sorry, G, E flat, E, C, A, da ba da ba ba. It's a descending minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio, half diminished arpeggio going down, with a fourth added in there. So it's half scalic, half arpeggio. But he's playing it over an F7. And it's just beautiful. You can always play half diminished arpeggios. Obviously A, F as its minor, as its major third, sorry. And in the context of F7, A, B, half diminished. Any half diminished thing that you play as the a half diminished arpeggio played a major third above dominant chord will always give you the lovely sound. So flat 7, major third would be D. So if I was to play a D half diminished arpeggio over this, that's not a D. No, I did it wrong. My bad. Can you guys hear the sound? I am not a fret tapper at all, but that's it. I love these kinds of lines. So. Not again. Okay, well, we have to start rethinking our positioning, because he gets into the high register of the guitar and I don't have access to that. 2, 3. All of these phrases, they all start in the same place at the bottom. So 3 end. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, repeating the pattern here, which is always, repetition is always an interesting device to use in improvising, even if you're not repeating the same notes, same sequence of notes, just repeating a rhythmic pattern, which is what's happening in this case. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3. So we've got. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and then I think he switches. Yeah. Oh, he gets into this gorgeous line after that. Can't wait to get. Can't wait to sink my teeth into that. Okay, we'll end it there. Shall we start it lower? Yeah, we'll start it there. Okay, transcribed 5 seconds. 5 seconds of the tune. Guys, I'm really sorry this doesn't usually happen. Usually I last longer. Starts off already with beautiful ideas. Ka tika doom, ka tika tika doom. Referring to a some kind of a Carnatic Indian rhythm. What was the previous thing? What was it? The takada, not takadimi, all that sort of stuff. It's the kachaka paka. What was it? I don't remember. Don't remember. No, I'm not getting this. 1, 2, 3. Ah, missed it. I was distracted by Badarkadak. Badarkadak. I love this little intro. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's probably 2. 1, 2. 1, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh. That, if that doesn't make you happy, I don't know what does. Oh, guys, I'm gonna have to call it a day, sadly, for today. But I have a feeling that I'll be able to stream again before Friday because I love getting into I might even just sack an hour worth of piano practice just so I can get uh, deeper into this solo. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. All right, I'm gonna go and make some food. Maybe a Korea stream, possibly. Possibly. Oh, by the way, guys, was it Thanksgiving for you guys? Because we've got some Americans at the church I go to, and we did a big Thanksgiving meal yesterday. Oh, it's this Thursday. Gotcha. Okay, it's this Thursday. Well, hopefully I can do a Thanksgiving stream. Oh no, it's not gonna work because I'm teaching afternoon and evening, and then it'll be nighttime. Maybe when I get back. Oh, but you guys will be busy. Nobody's gonna be watching on Thanksgiving, right? Oh, I hope you guys have got some nice dishes planned. Yeah, really good yesterday. Really good fun. I was in charge of carving the turkeys. Me, if you can believe it. Mike, oh yeah, Thursday's Thanksgiving. Oh yeah. Yeah, I hope you guys have a good time. And celebrate it appropriately. Bass, football, and food? Dude. That sounds pretty good. Mashed taters, turkey, and Phil plays bass. Phil plays bass might have to wait till Friday. But, yeah, if I can't stream at the right time, then it can't be a Thanksgiving special. It's like, who would do a Christmas special stream? It's like, dude, go spend time with your family, you weirdo. Speaking about myself here. Which I will. In fact, maybe we'll have another. Maybe we'll do Thanksgiving this year with my parents. I'll force the Belgians to do some, possibly adopt some American traditions of it. I'll be the flag bearer, guys. Walking to every house, knocking on doors. Oh, say, can you see? Just everywhere in Belgium. It's like, we don't do this here. What are you doing? Sod it. Get a bit of optimism in you guys. All right, guys. I will love you and leave you. Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Mike, for being loyal participants into my little ramblings. Very much appreciated. And hopefully you guys are coming out of this even more hungry. Music and life and optimism. These days, it seems like we're in dire need of some of that. I'm overflowing with it at the moment, so yeah. Really appreciate you guys. I'm hoping to be able to stream one more time before Friday. If I'm not, I do apologize. But in any case, happy Thanksgiving, you guys. I hope you spend some lovely time in with friends or family, wherever you are in the world. Even if you're not celebrating Thanksgiving, you will. Take care, guys. Everybody have a lovely day, and I will see you all. Oh gosh, that's horribly loud and ugly. No. Yeah, that's more like it. Whoa. All right, everybody have a lovely time. Take care. I will see you on Friday, if not before.